confess that sometimes the classrooms in the United States are not as polite. People don't just sit and listen and absorb. People will argue. People will share their point of view. Obviously, in a class of 20 people, that's much easier to do than a class of 300. But there is an expectation that you will ask questions, speak up when it doesn't make sense, and take responsibility for your own education. So today, I'd like to ask you to do the same thing. Any concerns you have, any issues, ask the speakers during the break or at any time, come and talk to me. We want to know not just what you're excited about, but also what questions, what challenges, what other issues you might have, so that we can provide any information and opportunity. So please, this is your briefing today. This is for you. Make sure you get the information you need. And with that, can we switch over? So a couple of you guys have visited the US already, have seen some campuses. I think that most of the pictures that we have today are pictures of campuses that people are actually going to. So if you see your campus and you know it's yours, please jump up and shout and scream and yell or something. But no matter what, if you see a campus, the question is, can you identify the US school based only on this picture of one of its iconic features? And if you can find it, then we got prizes for people who can guess the right answers. Okay, ready? We're going to start with, this is a freebie. Anybody happen to know what this one is? I've changed the picture so it's not very clear. Anyone happen to know where this is? This is in the United States. Thank you, Iqbal. Yes. Columbia? No, that's not Columbia. Other end of the country. This is actually Stanford. All right. So let's go to the first one. Where is this? Right off. Where is this? University of California, San Diego. Well done. Are you going to UCSD? Wow. That is really impressive. I didn't know that this building existed until I did my research. But it's beautiful. It's really, this is a library. Okay, next one. Where is this? And who do we give credit for? Please.
It's NYU.
NYU. How did you know?
I went there.
Okay.
I was walking around the University Village because I'm going to NYU this fall.
Okay, fantastic. I went to NYU.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And this is exactly what it is. NYU doesn't have a campus. NYU's campus is the streets of New York, and the buildings that NYU has classrooms in just have a big purple flag on the outside. And that's how you know that it's school. Okay? Where's this? Anybody? All right, this is a tough one. Do we have anybody here who's going to the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign? Right here? All right. You will probably get to know this building while you're there. And another. Okay, excellent. Let's go to the next one. Yes, what?
California University.
California? Which
Yes.
California University? There's a lot of them. Okay, we're going to have more California coming up, so maybe you'll see your campus soon. But where's this? No, my team cannot answer. You guys already know the answers. We got some hints here. You see big mountains. You see a giant letter thrown up onto the, in the Western United States, a lot of schools do this. They'll put a big letter, they'll make it out of rocks and put it up on the mountain. Did I see a hand over here? Anyone got a guess? Yep, back there.
Is it UC Berkeley?
It's not UC Berkeley. The hint here, other than the mountains, is the giant letter U. It doesn't stand for university. Yeah, right here. Utah? University of Utah, right here. Well done. Are you going to University of Utah? Okay, yes, thank you. Sorry, I spaced that. Next one. What are we looking at here? Yep. UC Berkeley. We're back in California. Well done. All right. Do you recognize your campus? Does this look like it? All right. UC Berkeley. Next one. If the clicker works. Where's this? Yep.
Is that Georgetown? Is that Georgetown?
That is not Georgetown, but good guess. Not too far off geographically. Anyone? All right, there's no real clues here because it just kind of looks like a university building. This is, yes, right here. Not Indiana. Good guess too, though. This is Pennsylvania State University. Penn State, right here. Okay, next one. Where's that? Do we have an alum here? Yeah. Please. Current student. Where is this?
UT Austin.
University of Texas at Austin, yes. Going down to the south for this one. Okay. Next one. We got two pictures to show two different aspects of this one. Where is this? Raise your hand. There in the back, yep. Columbia University. Is that where you're going? Or you just know it? Just know it, okay. Do we have anybody going to Columbia here right now? Got a couple of people. So Columbia, so I went to NYU. Columbia is just a little bit north of NYU. As opposed to NYU, which has no campus, and you know the buildings just because they've got giant flags, Columbia became Columbia before New York became the New York we know it today. So you have this beautiful traditional campus with a quad and with grass, and then you walk 10 feet and you're out in Manhattan. And so you get the perfect college experience inside this huge city experience. It's really cool. Okay, next one. Where is this? Wow. We've got it right off. Are you going to Northwestern? No, how do you know?
I searched for a business school in Northwestern, so I saw that sort of like they have a building outside of the island. I mean, sort of like the small island as well.
Okay, perfect. Yes, that is Northwestern University. Anybody know what state Northwestern University is? Illinois. Does Illinois look like this? Illinois is not coastal. That's a lake. That is not the ocean. That is a big lake. Okay, next one. Where's this? Okay, I hear people seeing the M and thinking Michigan. The big clue here is the mountain. Minnesota doesn't have mountains. Michigan doesn't have mountains like this. The M is not for mountains, but the M is for a word that you find in mountains. That's a pretty big hint. Anyone? Yep. Wisconsin and Madison? No, I'm sorry. Wisconsin, again, not a big mountain place. Anybody know what one of the most famous mountain states in the United States is? Yes, back there? Montana? Great guess, not Montana. This is from the state I grew up in. Do we have anyone here who is going to the Colorado School of Mines? That M is for mines. So this is a mining school and other science and technology. They're a really good tech school. Okay. How about this one? Give you a hint, we've already heard this school's name. This is Wisconsin-Madison. Well done. Another school that's set on a really big lake. Okay. How about that one? Yes. So I debated whether to remove that or not and decided that on this one I would make it a little bit easier. But we have somebody going to, you're going to UC Davis, right? Or somebody here is going to UC Davis. Okay. Yeah, beautiful campus. And again, because it's a land-grant university, really big, really open. Beautiful place to go. Okay, how about this one? Yep. Boston University, well done. Are you a student or an alum from Boston? Just, okay. Second to last one, I think. Where's this? We've also heard this one. This has been a guess people have made before. No. Embassy staff cannot play. This is in the city of Washington, D.C. Georgetown University, yes, that's Georgetown. Okay, and now I think this is our last one, and we're ending on a really cool one and a really weird one. Where's that? Oh, right off the bat, MIT. Have you been to MIT? Okay. Does it look like that in real life? This is what happens when you give a whole bunch of engineers unlimited resources to go crazy. They build this. All right. One of the reasons I wanted to do this, thank you so much for playing this little game. One of the reasons I wanted to do it is to show that there is no one US experience. These schools all look very different from each other. Within each school, the experience you have will be very different from everything else. No one else gets to tell you what your college or your master's experience or your doctorate experience will be. You build it for yourself. It's one of the things that makes US education amazing. It's one of the things that makes US education maybe a little scary, but you are driving this ship. It is your journey, so I wish you tremendous luck, and I'm really jealous because this is really one of the coolest things you can do. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much, Pak John Stopper, for the warm welcome. Maybe you can stay on the stage, Pak. Yes. Yes, we would also like to invite all of today's speakers, moderators, and facilitators to join us on the stage for the official photo session. Please, everyone.
And I just want to tell everybody, I have another game that I'm not going to do on the stage, but during our break, if you want to test your own trivia, during our break, if you want to test your own knowledge and trivia about your school, come find me. I'm going to be doing competitions. We've got more prizes, but we're going to be putting people head to head to see who knows the most about their school.
Thank you so much, everyone. You may return to your seat. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I hope you are ready for our 3 session of today's event. We will talk about several things. The first one is pre-departure or essential. The second one is living in the US, and the third one is US student visa. For the first session, will be moderated by Education USA advisors. Please join me in welcoming Kak Meidinar Latupono.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today here at America and online through our platform on Zoom, YouTube, and Instagram. Well, my name is May. I'm one of the Education USA advisors. And Education USA is a global advising network under the US Department of State. And our mission is to promote US higher education, as well as helping Indonesian students throughout their journeys to studying in the United States. So, many of you, I see some familiar faces. I know you guys been seeing Education USA advisors throughout the years. So as you know, with Education USA, we have 5 steps to study in the United States. And also today, we are on the final step, which is to prepare for your departure. So before we start our program, please accept my heartfelt congratulations to all of you. You've made it. Please give yourself a round of applause. So as I said, this might be the final steps of Education USA process, but this might be the first step for your journey as a student in the United States. So to help you get off a great start, our first session today, we will talk more about pre-departure essentials. So joining us live from Houston, we have Shannon Bedo. She is the Director of International Student Services at Houston Christian University. Shannon, the stage is yours.
Hi, everyone. I was actually right where you were last March. So I got to visit the Education USA office in Jakarta just a few months ago. So I am so excited for y'all to get to attend US universities. I was actually an international student many, many years ago studying at a university in Tunis, Tunisia. And so that experience really changed my life and made me want to help international students coming to the United States. So I just wanted to give a shout out to all of you because you are so brave and you're going to do amazing things. And we are so excited to see the things that you get to accomplish and experience during your studies here in the United States. And so I want to share my screen. Let me see if I can. Okay, can you all see my screen? Can somebody let me know?
We are still seeing you on our big screen right now. We're trying to, there we go. Yes, we can see your screen right now.
Okay, great. So first of all, welcome to the United States. You are welcome here. We just really want you to have the most out of your experience here in the United States. So hopefully some of the things that I can share with you today will help you maximize your return on investment for your studies in the United States. So first of all, before you leave, you need to make sure you bring the right documents with you. So you need to make sure that you have your passport. Your F1 visa will be in your passport. Your Form I-20. Do not put this in your check bags. You need to keep it with you in your carry-on because a lot of times when you go through the airport, you will not have access to your check bags until after you go through Customs and Border Patrol. So you need to make sure you have that I-20 with you. It can't be a picture. You need to print all 3 pages and sign page 1 where indicated. Your DSO will have emailed it to you, and they will have already signed page 1. You need to make sure you bring your admission letter with you, housing information, health insurance. If you purchase your health insurance before you leave, or if you have travel insurance, you need to bring that with you. I recommend that you bring the financial documents that you use to get your I-20. Go ahead and bring those financial documents with you. And also, you should have all paid your CVIS fee and you have that receipt. Go ahead and bring that with you as well. Okay, so as soon as you come to the United States, you may need to be spending some money. So you need to make sure that you have access to funds right when you come. So you need to make sure that you have a credit card or some way to fund things before you open up a bank account in the United States. Do make sure that your bank knows that you're going to be traveling internationally so that your card doesn't freeze. If you can bring some US currency with you, that may help, but the US is relying more and more on electronic payments and not as much cash. Some restaurants and places like that will not accept cash anymore. Most places still will. So you can find a place where you can use cash, but it may be good to have other ways to buy things in the United States. And so if you can set up your payment plan or pay your tuition before you leave, that would be better. Find out what the financial settlement deadline for your school will be. Our school's financial settlement deadline is 1 week before school starts, but our payment plans are available starting now. And so many of our students are already paying for their fall tuition by a payment plan that they've already set up. So make sure that you're getting that taken care of. Okay, technology. So if you can bring a laptop, that would be helpful. Most schools will have laptops that you can borrow. But if you can bring your own, I think it would be very, very helpful. Make sure that you have the right chargers and adapters. You may need to get a charger that will fit US plugs. But if you can get that beforehand, it might be helpful. When I showed up in Tunis, I didn't have the right charger for my laptop, and my laptop died, and it took me a long time to find a cord to be able to charge it. This was a long time ago, but still, it's important to be able to charge your devices. Especially because you need to make sure that your phone has some battery left when you come through the airport, so that if you need to get a ride or something like that, that your phone is still working. Okay, so also you can need to have important documents electronically, like your health insurance document, different paperwork that you might need. Make sure that you have electronic copies of that. Okay, so if you need a phone number in the United States, most schools work with a company that will give you a SIM card. So you can ask your international office if they will give you the SIM card. And that a lot of times is the cheapest phone plan. So in the United States, there's very cheap phone plans, and then there's some more expensive phone plans. So the SIM card that the company that my university uses is called Mint Mobile, and it's a SIM card, and there's an electronic SIM card that our students can use as well. So you may be able to get that set up right when you come, and it would be really helpful to have a US phone number. People in the United States don't use WhatsApp or other ways to communicate electronically as much as just straight texting. So a lot of Americans don't have WhatsApp or other ways to communicate. They just use like texting phone to phone. So you may find it helpful to get a US phone number. Okay, so who is a DSO? I have been a DSO for 20 years. It's a designated school official. It is the person who's the liaison between the government and the university and F1 students. So your DSO is your friend. They are there to take care of you. I became a DSO because I knew how hard it was to be an international student, and I wanted to be able to help students. So please rely on them, and don't necessarily go to your friends for advice. Go directly to your DSO. A lot of us have ways that we can just make an appointment with them. In fact, all of our new students, we are a smaller university, so every single one of our new students coming in must meet with one of the DSOs one-on-one for an official check-in appointment. Other schools are bigger, and they do the whole check-in process as a big group. But if you ever want to just have that one-on-one meeting, you can make an appointment with your DSO, and I highly recommend that you do so. At our school, we have a walk-in policy where students can walk into our office and get help, but it helps the DSOs a lot if you make an appointment ahead of time. Also, if you don't listen to anything else I say, check your email. Students don't normally check their emails a lot, but I highly, highly recommend, as an international student, important information is going to be sent from your university to your email account. At some point, it's going to change from your personal account, such as your Gmail, to your university account. You need to make sure that you set up your university email address on your phone or in other way that you can access that information easily. I've had so many students say, oh, I didn't check my email. But it's super, super important for you to check your email. So make sure that any email that comes from a DSO, that you're making sure that you check that and you read that information, because DSOs send out really important information. So your SEVIS record is the information that is stored in the government system that the DSO uses to create an I-20. So the I-20 is the immigration document that is produced through SEVIS. Your SEVIS record is managed by the DSO at the school. And so they use that to issue your I-20, but they also use it to give you advice and help you maintain your legal immigration status. So have a good relationship with your DSO. I love it when my students stop by just to check in and see how they're doing. And then sometimes they'll just ask me a random question that they think is not that important, and it leads to a conversation that really helps them a lot. So just make sure that you regularly check in with your DSO. Okay, so when do you need to check in with your DSO? If you change your address or personal contact information within 10 days, you do have to let your DSO know that information. If you change your major or your program, you also have to let your DSO know. If you want to change schools, or if you want to work, you need to let your DSO know. So for example, when our students get a job on campus, that's when they can apply for a social security number, and we help them with that process. Or if they're wanting to apply for a driver's license or Texas ID, we also help them with that process. So there's lots of things that they can do to help you. So make sure that you're attending orientation, find out when it is, come early, ask lots of questions. Don't ask on Reddit, ask your DSO. I actually follow some of these threads from international students on Reddit, and it kind of scares me, some of the advice that they're giving each other. So just make sure that you're paying attention to what your DSO is saying. So speaking of what DSOs say, okay, so these are some basic immigration regulations. You must attend full-time. So for an undergraduate student, that is 12 hours, so about 4 classes, 12 credits. In graduate situations, it's usually 9 hours, which is about 3 classes, but it could differ from course to course. Only 1 class or 3 hours can count towards full-time enrollment if it's online. So make sure that you don't register for too many online classes. Employment, that's really important. You want to get credit towards your program if you have an internship, or you want to get experience to build your resume. You can work on campus up to 20 hours a week during major semesters. So find out if there's a career office on your campus and if they help international students look for jobs. Lots and lots of international students at Houston Christian University work on campus, and they make some money and they build experience and they build their resumes, and it's a really great experience for them. You can work more hours if your school will allow you to during the summer or whatever break. Some schools are on a quarter system. But if you have an internship that's part of your program, then you could possibly get authorized for curricular practical training, CPT authorization, where you can participate in that internship. It doesn't have to be paid. A lot of times it is paid, but for example, our nurses have their clinicals, and that's curricular practical training, and that's not paid. So you just need to talk to your DSO about what the CPT policies are at your school. In general, students can apply for optional practical training, usually for 1 year after they graduate. It's called post-completion OPT. There is pre-completion OPT, but I'm not going to get into that right now. I'm just trying to give you a little bit of basic information. So these are the things that you can think about so that when you have questions, you can ask your DSO. I am going to tell you that just last Friday, there was new immigration regulations for F1 students that were posted. We are still working through what those changes mean. So be patient with your DSO. The changes will go into effect September the 15th. It's a lot of information. It was 560 pages. I'm about halfway through reading them right now, but we're all working to try to understand what these changes mean to you as a student. So it's going to make transferring schools or changing programs more complicated. You're going to have to really, really pay attention to your I-94. The I-94 is the document that you receive when you enter the United States. You can Google I-94 and look it up. As soon as you go through Customs and Border Patrol, you should be able to look up your I-94. In the past, F1s have had D/S, meaning for duration of status, meaning they could stay as long as they were following all of the immigration regulations and had an accurate I-20. But now, starting September the 15th, students are going to have an authorized until date. It's not going to say DS anymore. It's going to have an actual date by which they would need to finish their program and leave the United States or extend their program. So there's going to be a lot more I-539 program extension filings moving forward after September the 15th. So when you come and you go to orientation at your school, please make sure you really, really pay attention to these changes that are happening. And by then, hopefully, most of us DSOs will have been able to work through the changes and be able to accurately communicate the requirements to our students. But it just makes it more and more important for you to be friends with your DSO. Like, make sure that you're staying in touch with your school, and you're also paying very close attention to that authorized until date that will be on your I-94. Okay, so what should you bring? Okay, so make sure that you bring any prescription medications. One of my students from Vietnam had some skincare products that she couldn't find in the United States, and she really, really needed some. And so she had to get a bunch when she went home over Christmas. And bring it back. So just make sure if there's certain things that you really need, that you're bringing it. If it is prescription medications, that you bring it with the documentation. If you have glasses or contacts, make sure that you don't forget those, your important academic records, and anything that you really just love from home that would make you feel more at home in the United States. But when you're in the United States, you can buy your bedding, pillows, small appliances. It depends on, some dorms will allow things like rice makers. Some dorms won't. So you really need to pay attention to your university's requirements. You can get school supplies in the United States, household items, things like that are available here in the United States. So people use Amazon all the time. You can get Amazon Prime with free shipping. There's even a student account that you can get. And I think that Amazon Prime ends up being free for a certain amount of time if you're a student. But it's great. But there's also like shopping at Walmart. There's lots of big stores. If you're coming to Texas, the best grocery store ever is called H-E-B. And we all love our grocery store. But there's also Target in a lot of places. Costco is a warehouse where you can buy in bulk, but you do have to have a membership. So just make sure if you're ordering online that you confirm the best delivery address, especially for dorm rooms. Also, a lot of students will use DoorDash or Uber Eats to like buy the things that they need or even get food from off campus, things like that. Okay, so if you're not going to live on campus, make sure that you're looking at what you're really doing when you're signing a lease. So how close is it to campus? How are you going to get from where you're living to the campus? How safe is it? The cost of utilities and the lease length. I recommend that if you have the choice, that you live in the dorm at least the first semester or the first year, because that's how you're going to make a lot of friends, and it's so much easier to live on campus and be able to just walk to class very quickly and not have to worry about how you're going to get to campus. But eventually, some students like to live off campus, so you need to pay attention Okay, so questions if you're trying to live off campus. Is the furniture included? In fact, if you're going to live in the dorm, you need to ask what furniture is going to be there. What utilities are included? Is internet included? Are you going to have roommates assigned? Even if you're going to live in the dorm, you need to ask about how they assign roommates. So make sure you read the lease very carefully and make sure that you know what you're signing. So there is extra cost beyond the rent. So you need to think about electricity, water, internet. A lot of apartments will include some of these things. Are they charging for parking? Also, some universities will have a parking fee, but if you don't have a vehicle on campus, you can apply to get the parking fee waived, but you must do it by a certain date. So at HCU, you can apply to have the parking pass waived, but if you don't do it by the 12th class day, they won't waive the parking pass any longer. So make sure that you can save yourself a couple $100 if you don't have a vehicle by making sure you waive that parking pass. But look at renter's insurance if you want to do that, or how to do laundry. Make sure that you have a monthly budget, that you know how much you're going to be spending. Okay, banks. One of the first things that you can do is set up a bank account in the United States. It's very helpful to have that. And why do you want a bank account? Because if the university is going to send you a refund, or if you get a job on campus, they're going to want to be able to send that money to a US bank account. Especially if you get a job on campus, they're going to want to use something called direct deposit, where they put your paycheck directly into your bank account. Also, if you need to pay rent or tuition or anything like that, a lot of people, like if you're going to give money to someone else, you can Venmo or Zelle. That's big apps that they use. Okay, so also taxes in the United States. Everyone in the United States must file some sort of taxes. If you do not have a job and you're here on an F1, you need to file an 8843 that says I didn't make any income. The tax year is from January 1st to December 31st each year. And the tax paperwork for that year is due by April 15th of the following year. So taxes for January 1st, 2026 to December 31st, 2026, you must file something by April 15th, 2027. If you have a job or a taxable scholarship, which is room or board, so if the university or somebody is covering your room or board, you will get a tax document and you have to pay taxes on that based on your contract between the United States and Indonesia. So for example, my student athletes who have their room and board covered have to set aside about 15% of the money that they're getting from their scholarship, and then they have to file taxes and they have to pay taxes on that room and board scholarship. Or my students who get a job on campus, they have to make sure that human resources is setting aside money to cover the taxes. So sometimes human resources doesn't set aside enough money. And so you have to make sure you're getting money taken out of your paycheck in order to cover the taxes. Because what you don't want to happen is in April of the next year, you're filing your taxes and then it comes back that you owe a bunch of money because you weren't taking out enough as you went along. Okay. So the documents that are required for opening up a bank account are generally a passport, I-20, student ID, proof of address. So a lot of times you can use your tuition statement for your proof of address. Another benefit of opening up a bank account is that if you want to get a state ID or driver's license, there are requirements now. It's called a real ID that you can get in the United States. Many states will offer like a non-real ID driver's license, but if you can get the real ID, generally states will require you to be in that state for 30 days. And after that, you can apply for an ID or a driver's license. I recommend that you go ahead and get a state ID, even if you're not ready to drive in that state. The ID will help you in a lot of different ways. And you can eventually turn that ID into a driver's license when you're ready to drive in the United States. But as far as banking, so the bank statement you can use to show that your address is in that state, wherever you're trying to get your driver's license. But a checking account is the account that you're spending in and out of every day. So if you have a job on campus, the money will go into there. And then when you buy something, it will come out of that. A savings account is money that's like you're trying to set aside and maybe not spend on a day-to-day basis. A debit card is money, like a card that the bank will give you, that the money will come directly out of your account. So if you use your debit card at a restaurant or a gas station or anything, that money will be drawn from your bank account. A credit card is one where it will stack up through the whole month and then you pay it off at the end of the month. If you don't pay it, they will charge you a lot of interest. So be very, very careful with credit cards. A credit score will help you determine, like, can you get a credit card or things like that. Be very, very careful with credit cards in the United States. Okay, so building financial responsibility will matter for the long term. If you want to stay in the United States and buy a house or buy a car or things like that, your credit score will benefit you in the long run. And so just in like with renting apartments or things like that. So just make sure that you're being financially responsible. Okay. Yeah, so we talked about that. Okay, transportation. Okay, I am from Houston, Texas, where there are buses, but the ground transportation is not so great. So you need to make sure that you're doing your research on the transportation system in the city or the town where you will be living. A lot of campuses will have buses or shuttles. There are public buses or like trains, metro systems, subways. In the United States, we don't use Grab. So you'll need to be able to download like Uber or Lyft, or if you want to do a ride share. You can even use bicycles. Students around HTU will use skateboards, things like that. Personal vehicles, we talked about what it would take to get a driver's license. Okay, so in general, the United States is very safe, but you always should be careful about where you're going and what you're doing. So know your emergency contacts. Most campuses have a police department that is on campus. The job of that police department is to keep you safe. They are your friends. I know in a lot of countries, students may be a little bit concerned about approaching a police officer, but on my campus, the police officers are some of the nicest people I have ever met. And one time my car battery died and the police officer came like very late at night and came to jump my car so that I could go home. They're very, very nice. Their concern is your safety. So use the campus emergency procedures that are there for your benefit. So there may be even like call boxes that if you ever feel unsafe, or there may be escorts on campus that the police would escort you to your car if you ever felt unsafe. But generally, college campuses are some of the safest places in the United States because the college campus is very, very serious about taking care of our students and making sure that you feel safe and that you are safe in your dorms, in the parking lots, in the buildings, things like that. The emergency number in the United States is 911. So if there's ever an emergency and you need police or fire or emergency vehicles or an emergency ride to the airport, I mean, not the airport, in an ambulance to the hospital, don't use 911 to go to the airport, then you can call 911. Okay,
Hi, Shannon.
so I talked about the police.
Hi, Shannon.
Yes.
Sorry, I have to remind you a little bit. We have 5 minutes left, and also that's for Q&A. So if you can, yes, finish.
Okay.
Yes. Anything
Real quick,
necessary, and then we
couple
can
of points.
go for a Q&A.
Sure. Okay. So if you get sick, it may not be the best idea to go directly to an emergency room. There is urgent care that a lot of people will use, or health centers on the campuses. Also, you need health insurance in the United States. It's very important because healthcare is very expensive without health insurance. Usually your university will provide a policy for you, and usually universities will require you to have the health insurance. Okay, auto insurance, you would need to do that if you have your own vehicle. You're not alone. The university is here for you. Please go to the international office if you need help. But also, like, join clubs and make friends. So the students that thrive on my campuses are the ones that get out, make friends, get a job on campus, find a study group, join clubs. The ones that don't do well are the ones that hide in their room and play video games till 2 o'clock in the morning and then miss their 8 a.m. class because they're too tired to get up. So be the first type of student, get involved, make friends. Universities have lots of opportunities for you to thrive on their campus. Okay, questions?
Yes, if anyone here have any questions, I'll have two questions on site. Anyone here, please raise your hand and then state your name.
Oh, yeah. Hello. Thank you so much for the presentation. I just wanted to ask, like you mentioned that we have to have all these like important documents with us. I was just wondering if you knew what kind of documents we have to carry on a day-to-day basis. Like, you know, like 'cause we have like a I-94, we have our I-20, we have our passport, etc. So I was wondering, what should we carry as
Great
an ID?
question.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So if you can get a state ID or a driver's license, that's a really good idea. But I tell my students to have a paper copy of their passport, their visa stamp, their I-20, and their I-94 with them in their purse, their backpack, their wallet, somewhere. I used to tell students that they should keep a copy of those things on their phone. However, if someone, law enforcement, is asking you for copies of those documents and they're on your phone, you must hand your phone over to someone else and then you won't have your phone. It is much better for you to have a paper copy of your passport, visa, I-94, and I-20 with you so that if law enforcement asks you for those documents, you can hand over the paper copies. If you are traveling by airplane or further than 100 miles away from your home in the United States, I would recommend that you take the originals with you. So I have athletes who travel very close to the Mexico border for games and things like that. So if they are traveling near a border, I tell them to take their original documents with them. Other than that, you can keep the paper copies with you when you're on campus, about town, things like that. Great question.
Great, thank you. Any last question from that part? If not, please give Shannon. Oh, sorry, there's one over here.
Hello, sorry. I just wanted to ask about like probably the order of like the things that we need to prepare or like we need to get after going to the US. As you mentioned before, that we needed our social security number, our bank account, our phone plan, etc. And I wanted to ask, as in, if we want to make a bank account, do we need our social security number first, which means we need to get the, oh, okay. So would you mind telling me like the order of like?
Yeah, that's a great question. So you can only get a social security number if you get a job. So you cannot apply for a social security number unless you get a job because the government wants to give you the social security number so that you can pay taxes. Although a social security number is very helpful in other ways in the United States. So sometimes my students want to get a job just so they can get a social security number, but please don't do that. If you get a job, actually take the job and do the job. But you can get a social. So the first thing my students do is go get a bank account. There's a bank that's located on our campus. They're very used to working with international students, and my students never have a problem opening up account. There's major banks in the United States, such as Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, etc. They make it very, very easy for you to get an account. You must wait 30 days to get an ID or a driver's license. If you're not ready to get the driver's license, go ahead and get an ID. you can't. It's not urgent to do that, but I recommend that you do that. It's very helpful to have an ID with you. You also need to make sure you get your student ID from campus. I think that that's all we talked about as far as the order of those things. Just make sure you file your taxes too.
Yes, and if you have more questions, contact your DSO, right? At the school that
Yeah,
you're going
absolutely.
to. So thank you so much. Please give a round of applause for Shannon. Shannon, thank you so much for staying up late for us. Again, this is a big
Thank
help for us.
you.
Thank you so much. So everyone, we're going to the next session, the second session. So please help me welcome also my partner, Caroline.
Thank you, May. Hi, everyone. All right, thank you so much for coming today. And I just want to say congratulations to every single one of you who will be departing very soon. So my name is Caroline. I am one of the EducationUSA advisors here at America. So if you have any questions, if you don't have enough time for your questions during the session, feel free to meet any of the advisors right outside. All right, so we're going to start this second session. We're going to have 3 amazing speakers. I'm going to call our first speaker who will be here. He's attending the session here in person. Please help me welcome Timothy Warokka from Internet. He is a Bachelor of Science candidate from International Relations and Affairs and Business at the George Washington University, Washington, D.C. A warm of applause, please. Okay, so Timothy, silahkan duduk, terserah mau di sebelah mana. We're going to have 2 more speakers. They'll be attending online. So the first speaker is Danendra Farrell Arya Admaja. He is a Garuda Awardee and is attending the University of Chicago. Where is Danendra? Can we see him yet? Hi, Danendra.
Halo, Kak.
Okay, hello Danendra, it's good to see you. So our last but not least speaker, Trisina Simanjuntak, she is an LPDP awardee. She actually just graduated just a couple of months ago, and she attended the University of Michigan. Hi Trisina.
Hello, so good to see you all here.
Okay, it's good to see you again. So Trisina, in fact, she was the advisee She was my advisee and also May's advisee. So, we kind of know her struggle, her journey until she graduated just a couple of months ago. Congratulations on your graduation. Okay, so we're going to have a discussion. We're not going to have a presentation for today, ya Timothy ya. Okay, mungkin nanti kita akan ada Q&A di akhir sesi, but we're going to have like a conversation first with the speakers. Right, so Timothy, how are you?
Great to be here. Thank you.
Great to be here. Yeah, okay. Thank you for coming here. So I have the first question. It's for you and all the speakers. The first one was, how is your experience so far studying in the US? Maybe you can start first.
Sure. Okay. So my experience, so I've been in the States actually since high school. So it is kind of a different pathway that I went through. So I've been there quite a while. So I've experienced different, parts or phases of my education or my academia career. But I would say that overall, it's been a very, very fulfilling journey for me. I've learned so much. You learn so much from people. You learn so much from the schools that you attend. I think I've grown a lot, especially, right? It's the vital years of my life. So I'm glad that I was able to spend the majority of it in the States. So yeah, I think one word, it's very fulfilling.
Very fulfilling. Okay, that's good to hear. All right, so let's go to Trisina next.
To be fair, my experience, it's my first time being in the US, so for my master's. I remember that before flying to Michigan, I prepared myself for about 1.5 years with Caroline and also Kak May, so they're been really helpful for me. I was expecting that going to Michigan, studying master's will be something like very rewarding, full of happiness, but well, that's true. But when I was in the school, there's a lot of realities that I need to face. But yeah, the journey has been amazing. I learned so many things in terms of different academic expectations in the class, the academic settings, and also day-to-day life. Every little things, how we do grocery shopping, how do we interact with each other is really different when we have compare what we have in Indonesia, which nothing's right or wrong, just like different.
All right, thank you, Trisina. Okay, Danendra, what do you think? How's your experience so far?
It's been great. I've only been in the US for like around a year, so it's the first time I live in the US, and so far the experience have been awesome. People are just very approachable in the US. It's very easy to make friends. Like it's very easy to talk to your professors. And I gained like a lot of new insight both from the academic perspectives or like the day-to-day perspective as well. So yeah, it's been really great.
All right, thank you so much. Now, I want to talk about the academic expectations, right? Because it's probably, maybe it doesn't really apply for you because you went to US for your high schools, right? But maybe this is more relevant for Trisina and Danendra. So how different was the classroom between, US and Indonesia? Maybe for you, Timothy, how different was it between high school and college?
Sure, I'll start.
You can start.
So the last time, so I spent middle school still in Indo, and it was in public school. So it was very, very different than when I moved to the States during high school. But I think the biggest changes between high school or Indo and in the US, especially as I've been back here for some time, that I've talked to my friends and colleagues that are going to universities here. I think one of the main differences that I can attest to is the access to professors. I think I think my adjustment was that not to prepare myself for a harder material. Materials can be harder, curriculums may be harder because it's different than in Indo. But I think what I was adjusting to is the idea of the openness of the classroom. Right. It's so easy for you to connect with your teachers. It's so easy for you to connect with your professors. There's open office hours all the time. So while yes, the material itself is hard for me to adjust, at the same time they were able to be so open. And I think this goes with almost all universities in the US, what they promote is the idea of being openness in the classroom. So I think I can attest to that.
So even if it was hard, you feel like you were very much supported by the university, by the professors.
Yeah, there's resources, right? A lot of these great universities, I know some of you are going to really, really top schools as well. There's always resources. So I think what I would tell is for you to find them. It's not going to be given to you, but it's there. So please reach out if you need help, whether it's tutoring, whether it's a lot of us actually also works as tutors. So it's it's an interesting experience. But yes, a lot of resources that you have to kind of look for them, but they're there and they're available.
Right. Thank you. Okay, so maybe Danendra, the difference between high school in Indonesia and then college in the US, gimana?
I think like in the US, especially college, what makes it really different from high school is that we get more sense of freedom. Like we manage our own life ourselves, and it's so different from high school. Like for example, in college, usually the classes are only like 50 minutes each. So like in the whole day, sometimes we only have like 1 hour of classes, and we have like the rest of our day to decide what to do ourselves, which is very different from high school. Like in high school, we have like the full day to the full schedule of classes in like a whole day. And for me personally, that's harder because I have to like learn by myself. I have to like make the time to like learn the materials by myself. I always prefer to like to have someone explain the material to me. So that's like one different thing. And then also in college, I think the pace of study is like way faster than what I had in high school. Especially like in my college, I use Chicago. We use a quarter system, so like we have like 3 quarters a year, and each quarter we have like 10 weeks of classes each. No, actually 9 weeks of classes, and then the last week will be for like finals, and that's pretty fast paced. But again, like the professors are very approachable and it's very easy to find to make friends in class. So they're really helpful. They can help us a lot if we don't understand like materials and all that stuff. So yeah.
Right. So you spent a lot of time figuring out and learning on your own, right? So how many times? How many hours do you spend daily in the library to study?
Oh, Actually, it depends. It depends on what classes I have that day. And okay, sometimes like if in one quarter I take like 2 math classes, usually we have like a lot of P sets, and each P set probably will take like I don't know. I would say like 10 hours a week, which is not that much, but
Okay.
we have like some P sets, so uh, yeah, it like compounds between one P sets and another.
All
So
right.
yeah.
All right. Thank you. Okay. So next, Trisina. So you went to college in Indonesia, but you also went to college in the U.S. How would you rate the difference? How different are the classrooms?
Yeah, it's really different, but I did my undergrad in Indonesia, but master's in the US. So those already tells different things because master's and undergrad have different workloads. But I get used to being in the class, like raising my hand before asking questions, waiting until my professor finish their sentences. But here in the US, people just like being very straightforward. They can interrupt the lecturer or other people when they have something to say. It's the first few weeks for me is hard because I'm not get used to that kind of like academic setting, but yeah, I try to also follow like discussions, being more critical and also add something in discussion. So yeah, it's very, I would say it's a little bit less formal but more casual because people just like, can be very vocal about what they think of in a problem or discussions that in the lecture. And also I feel like there's like so many resources studying in the US. For example, there's office hours from the professor and also the teaching assistant. So if I have homework, I don't know how to start. I can just like discuss with the professor. Hey, I've been struggling with these assignments, and they've been really helpful and very very accommodate in kind of sense.
All right, thank you. So I feel like after listening to all the three answers, so I think one of the differences is that the relationship that you have with your classmates and your professors is going to be very different compared to the setting in Indonesia, right? It's culturally very different. Now, when we talk about the cultural adaptation, other than the classroom, in the classroom setting, was there or were there any events throughout your studies where you feel like, oh, this is very shocking to me, or like I wish I knew this sooner, or was there anything that if maybe you thought would be nicer if it was different? Maybe we can start with the Danendra first right now.
Oh, sorry. Can you please repeat the question?
Yeah. So when we talk about the cultural adaptation outside of the classroom, was there anything that you felt like very shocking to you, or maybe you wish you knew sooner, or was there anything that you wish that was very different, or basically just how is your experience adapting to the culture?
Oh, I don't wish anything to be different, honestly. Like I've loved everything that I've experienced in the U.S. Like especially like the social scene is like really great. Especially because I live in a dorm. Like I'm still in my first year, and usually like U.S. colleges, you're required to live in your dorm for your first 2 years. And I think living in a dorm helps me so much in making new friends. And yeah, you can just go to like your house activities, and so houses usually have like activities, and you can meet friends there. And like generally, I think my friends, like most of my friends in college, are very approachable. Like you can easily make friends, you can easily find people that you can connect to. But I think what I would love to learn before I come to the US is I think, to understand that um, it is okay to like try to approach someone like in a professional manner. Like for example, it is very okay to like send emails to professors that you don't know yet. Like for example, like when I'm in the US, like I send like so many cold emails to my professors. Like some don't reply, some do. And from those cold emails, I get to talk to like some professors that whose research interests me, and I get like some research position through there. So yeah, I think one thing that probably like you guys can learn is that try to like approach people like in any way possible. So yeah.
All right. So yeah, let me get back a little bit. So you're only entering your second year, but you're already
Yeah,
involved in a
I'm going
research.
to my second year.
You already are involved in a research with professors.
Yeah, I'm involved
Wow.
in a research group.
All right, that's amazing. That's amazing. All right, that's good to hear. All right, so let's go to Timothy next. So, culturally speaking.
Cultural shocks. I think the little things that actually matters a lot in your daily activities, in your daily life. I would say tipping. It was mentioned earlier.
Right, right.
I'm talking about like unconventional ones that sometimes we don't really think about, but portion size there is crazy big.
Right.
You can refill your soda like so many times. It's free refill in a lot of places. So it's like, oh, the month format, right? The month, day, year, and then miles, like this. Which in the beginning I thought was weird because it was because the whole world used another metrics and the US is using their own metrics. So, but I think those little things that you need to adjust. So that definitely was a culture shock to me. I think beyond that, just the bigger one is that it's okay to have different opinions. I think in the US, that's what culturally that's usually like what I learned. What I learned as well during my daily life there, even outside of classrooms, is that even if you have different opinions, you can still be within a community. You can still be within the same environment. Everyone there has their own opinion and they stand by it. They respect it so much. So I think that's something that I wish. Because that could encourage me then to stand firm in my own opinions more than when I first moved there. So I think that's kind of like culturally that shocked me.
So I mean, your opinion is very much you can have different opinions, which is good, right? But you're also very much appreciated for having that opinion, right?
Course.
And I understand the tipping culture that can be very shocking,
Yes.
mentally very shocking.
Sometimes
as well.
it's now 20%, by the way, which is crazy. But to the workers for sure.
Right. All right, so let's go to Trisina.
Yeah, I think the examples that I already mentioned. So, but yeah, I noticed that several, even small or big things, different comparing to what we have in Indonesia and also in the US. For example, we can just casually call people by name, older people.
Right.
I don't want to sound different in the class, but I feel sometimes like a bit odd to call my professor by name, but there are people called by name. So I was like, okay, trying to adjust with the environment, And I also how we greet strangers, like all people that we know that pass by, like, hey, mau kemana gitu. But in the US, we don't say, hey, where are you going? No, it just sounds really weird. People will just say, hey, how is it going? Or hey, how are you? But they don't expect answers for that, just how they greet people. So I feel like, do they really want to know how I am today, or just like greet? So it's a bit awkward, but yeah. So like the first few months, I feel like I need to embrace the awkwardness to adapt in the like small different things here and also the big things here.
All right, thank you. So I want to talk about the living situation. I think Danendra mentioned that you live in a dorm. I wonder how many roommates do you have in that dorm, like in one room with you?
I personally have a roommate, but you can choose. You can just like have a single or have like an apartment, so you can have like more roommates.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so living in a dorm, meaning that you live in a university compound, right? So
exactly.
Is it easy for you to get around the campus for your classes and also to maybe to go to like grocery shopping, a hospital, and and so on?
Yeah, like I think Chicago is not that big, so it's pretty easy to like go around the campus. Like
Okay.
campus are not like they're far from one another. Like the classes are not far from one another.
Okay.
Like so again, it depends from one college to another. And like grocery store is also very accessible from the campus. But I personally don't go to grocery store that much because like I need to have a dining plan because
I
again like first
see.
years need to have their dining plan.
see.
I personally don't go to grocery stores, but there are like Trader Joe's and then like Costco near campus as well. So it's very easy to go around find groceries. Also, like we get like free like a card that we can get to use like free transportation. Like
Oh, nice.
if I want to go to like downtown Chicago, I can just use like the card and basically I can get like a free bus ride or train ride.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
yeah, it's very accessible.
Okay, I see Trisina and Timothy nodded. So was that the same experience with you guys? So you get a cart for you to get on the buses and other public transportations? For you, Timothy and Trisina?
Yes, for me,
Yeah?
yes. We have
For
a
you?
card, yeah.
Okay,
that
what
we
about
can
you,
go around.
Trisina?
Yeah, my student ID card give me so many access for transportations and stuff, you know.
Okay, that's good. So I think it's pretty common for all the universities, right? To let you use the student ID card to get into public transportations. All right. So Trisina, let's because you're gonna be a little different because it's for a master's degree, right? Probably you didn't live in a dorm. I would assume you probably rent an
Yeah.
apartment. How did you find the apartment?
Yeah, I didn't live in a dorm, so my campus has on-campus apartment that we need to apply, but because it's more economical comparing to other apartment, like off-campus apartments. So so many people want to get it, but fortunately I secured one. So during my study, I live in on-campus apartment, and some of them we will have roommates living the same same apartment, but it's just like randomly assigned. So one thing that I learned is because we live in the same house with different people with different culture, so it's also another experience for me to adapt or compromising with other cultures too. And yeah, it's I think it's a good experience for me to learn how to understand other people and be straightforward to them if some things that I don't really agree how to manage the house and stuff.
So it's a good experience that you probably won't get anywhere else, right? Okay. Now,
Right,
Timothy, did you live in a dorm?
I did, yes,
You
for
did?
high school, yeah. I
Okay.
had to. But then when I went to college, it was, I shared like an apartment with roommates. And then now I moved to DC, and DC is like one of the highest cost living in the US.
Right,
And so
right.
it's hard to kind of, budget and to cost and to save your cost. But thankfully, I did found like an Indonesian family, actually, believe it or not, that are living there that has space. So they would have like a room or two for students that are coming. So I would also encourage you guys to reach out to any Indonesians you might know because they might be a helpful resource. And that's actually the case for a lot of students that are coming to DC area actually. So because DC is a small city, right? So a lot of them would live in Maryland or Virginia, like and the borders of DC, and they would live in Indonesian families that are living there. So they become like a host family. So that's also an option for living.
So you still get to eat Indonesian food?
I do, thank God. Yes.
All right, okay. So I want to talk briefly about finance and budgeting because you mentioned that earlier before we open the Q&A session for the audience. How do you guys manage your monthly expenses? So maybe Trisina, let's start with you.
Oh, so I'm a huge. I feel like I'm a control I really love controlling things. So I really planned for my financial budget for the next 3 months.
Oh, okay.
So if I have like worst case happen for me, at least I have like 3 months already secured. So I noticed that the biggest expense studying in the US is first rent and then groceries, and then second one is health insurance if it's not covered by your sponsor or scholarship. So those three that I try to secure first for my expense. Normally I will budget that for the next 3 months, and then like I also budget for eating out like weekly coffee because I need to expand networking, grab coffee with people to find like opportunities in research and stuff. So that's also I include in my budget. So yeah, being details in your budgeting, that really helps you to survive here.
All right. Thank you. Okay, let's talk to Timothy first because you've been there since you were way younger. How do
Yeah.
you manage your finance?
Well, when I was young, my parents didn't trust me enough, but now I do manage my own finance now that I'm in university. I think, like I said, it depends on wherever you guys go. It varied. Cost of living varied based on your rent, based on your room, board, your transportation. A lot of universities do give us the free transportation. I do that. I got that as well. So that helps a lot in terms of cost of commuting, right? Back and forth to the campus. I would also say that there's a lot of resources actually in terms of not necessarily financial aid, depending on whatever finance method that you guys are using in the States. But there's offices that, for example, my school has food banks. So if you don't want to spend a lot of money on your groceries and you want to just go to the food bank, it's so easy for you to access it. They don't see your economic background. They don't see anything like that. So they don't really need your information about, your economic whatever. So you kind of just can sign up for that. Again, it varied from campus to campus. But for me, the food bank in my school really helps because that gives me good enough grocery, even if it's just bread, eggs, and milk.
Right.
That's very, very helpful. Food, for instance, we do have dining halls in a lot of schools. Sometimes it's cheaper to use that than to eat out. So I think it's just how smart you are in terms of knowing where to spend money and how much are you willing to spend in those instances.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. So knowing where to spend the money, that's really important.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Knowing the resources as well.
And the resources. Okay. So Danendra, how do you manage your financial situation monthly?
Okay, so I think my case is pretty because like the stipend that is given by my sponsor is less than the amount of money that I need to pay for my housing and dining plan.
Okay.
But then my sponsor also so my sponsor gives like a living allowance and settlement allowance. So they're the same amount, but settlement allowance is only given once, like in the beginning. And like living allowance is you basically have like monthly stipend, but it is given like once in every 3 months.
Okay.
So to cover for my housing and meal plan expenses, I use like the settlement allowance that is given in the before the beginning of my study.
Okay.
So like honestly, like during the year, I am mostly tight in budget. But then when the summer comes, like the sponsor still gives you the money, but then you don't really use the money. So you have the stipend for you to decide on what to use. Like I just like stack them up to so that I have like more money to spend like the following year. But then also you can find like usually internship, like you can find like paid internship or like my school have like stipend as well for internship, and it can also be used for like your expenses in the following year. And then on campus job can also help. Like I personally have like an on campus job as the research assistant, and it pays pretty well. So I think that's how I survive with like a tight budget because honestly, like during the year I'm pretty tight. I can't lie.
Okay. All right. So it's very good for for you guys before you depart to understand really how you're going to manage your finances because you're going to be there for quite some time, maybe for a couple of years or even more. So understanding that and knowing that you have an emergency funds is very very important. Okay. So we're going to open the Q&A session for the audience here. All right. So we have the first question here. Can we have a microphone? Great. Go ahead. Yeah, you can stand up. Introduce yourself first.
Okay, hello. All right, so good afternoon. My name is Ryan. I'm really curious about the journey in USA, especially you studied in USA before, right? So my question is very simple. What is the hardest part when you were in USA, and how can you handle it, especially you study before?
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
Please
So,
give also the tips and tricks.
okay, all right. So who's gonna start? The hardest part. Timothy, do you want to start?
Sure, I'm trying to figure out which one I should say. There's, of course, in general, right, adjusting or adapting to a new country is hard, just in general, like in a general sense. So there's a lot of things that were difficult for me. I would say the first one was when I lived in the dorm, that was hard because I wasn't accustomed to, being independent like that at such a young age, I would say. And since all of you guys are going for universities, in universities as well, I think a lot of the living situation is something that it can be difficult. Like someone mentioned earlier that you kind of get pointed, right? Who your roommates are. So not a lot of schools give you the chance to choose your roommates. So that can be difficult as well because now you're not only dealing with your room situation, you're dealing with a person now that you don't have. Maybe you have differences and stuff, right? So that's also something that could be difficult. I think just in general, just being there as a new person in a new country can be difficult. So I cannot really jot it down to just one or two particular thing. I think in general it's just difficult, but you'll manage, I think.
All right. Okay. So then, Danendra, do you want to go next?
Okay. So it's a difficult question, but it's true that to adapt in a new country is difficult because we have like cultural differences. Like sometimes I have some arguments with my roommate. We disagree in like some stuff. So that one is difficult. But then again, like academic expectation, I think is also like pretty high in the US or basically like in any country. So like balancing between your academic expectancy and like your day-to-day life, I think that's like the hardest part of um, I think doing college abroad overseas. But it still is a good experience. Like from those hardships, we get to learn like a lot of stuff. Like we get to learn like the science itself, like the academic side of things, but also we get to learn like how to survive while still trying to maintain a good academic record. So, yeah.
All right. Trisina, do you want to add something?
Yeah, I think it's still related to what Timothy said. Moving to different countries and adjusting, sometimes it looks like a confusing phase in my life because I get used with the different, like previous how I do my life day to day, but here even like the language, the small things are really different. So sometimes I feel like, which one should I follow? Like which way that is the right or not? So yeah, it's confusing, but it is enriching me as a human to know different cultures, but doesn't mean that it's right or wrong. It's just like different.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Trisina. So that's all the time that we have for the second session. So I think I just want to remind everyone that when you go to the US, it's not just about you learning academically, right? It's all about you learning to be a better person. Now, so I think we're gonna have a break in just a minute, and I'm gonna give the floor back to May. And thank you everyone for joining. And if you have more questions, please feel free to meet any of the advisors outside during the break. Thank you.
Thank you for our moderator and the speakers for the second session. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now have 30 minutes break. Therefore, we invite you to enjoy the food and beverage that we have provided in our exhibition area. Meanwhile, you can also participate in the activity and games in our performance area. Thank you everyone and enjoy the break.
anak atas sudah ready? Gua langsung masuk. Perlu light off lagi. Gua langsung naik ya. Oke, lu buka dulu. Ini udah mau siap naik. Kabarin kalau udah.
Hi, welcome back everyone. I want to check the spirit first. Hi everyone. Are you still excited for the next session? Okay, we hope you had a refreshing break and are ready to continue to the next session. And for the next session, we're honored to welcome our moderator for the third session from Education USA Advisor. Please welcome Kak Muhammad Iqbal.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, my name is Muhammad Iqbal. I'm one of the Education USA Advisor based in U.S. Embassy, Jakarta. I am so excited to be here today. I'm gonna host a special visa sessions with one of my colleague from Consular, Natalie. I'm gonna call you Natalie to the stage. Okay, so I think the visa session is one of the most anticipated session in this our program. And I think before we begin, I think we're going to see the quick hands. I just want to see that. Raise your hand if you already apply a visa and you get your visa. Raise your hand if you already get a visa. How many of you already get your visa? Okay, I saw a few hands. How many of you is not applying your visa yet? Okay, I saw a few hands. So how many of you apply visa and you are not getting your visa yet? Okay, I saw a few hands. All right, so don't worry. Okay, I saw a few hands here and there. So don't worry, we're here to we're going to help you. We're going to address your concerns. We're going to walk through all the process. So Natalie from Visa Consular, and she's a vice consul, and she's going to share a lot of information on how to apply a student visa and how to maintain a student visa. I think without further ado, I hand it over to Natalie. Go ahead, Natalie.
All right, thank you, everyone. It's so great to see you guys here. All right, thanks. I am accompanied by another colleague from Consular Affairs as well. A very experienced colleague, probably more experienced than me. So when we get to our Q&A, my colleague Leah can also help us answer some of your questions. I'm going to try to run through the presentation as quickly as I can. If you have a question and you're scared that maybe you're going to forget if I keep going and you wait till the end, I think it's okay, Iqbal, right? Just raise your hand and maybe we can try to keep an eye out so that I can answer your questions when they come up, yeah? So I'm sure the student visa process is very nerve-wracking. I'm gonna try my very best to encourage you not to be nervous about it. You guys are already proven excellent students, and so in many ways, you have little to worry about in that sense, okay? So let's move forward, yeah? I'm thinking here. All right, so why are we so difficult on this? This is not my favorite slide, to be honest, but basically, consular officers are entrusted, right, by the U.S. government to keep our borders safe, to watch out for national security, things of national security concern, right? And so that really is the lens with which we view our jobs, and I think that's important for you guys just to know, just in the sense of understanding that there is no other. It's not about allowing just a certain profile of people into the U.S. or it's not about kind of little things that you could think could have a kind of collateral reason. It truly is just national security, just making sure that Folks that go to the United States are doing what they say they're going to do, and that they come back when they're supposed to come back, and that's it. Yeah. All right, so we're going to speak about 3 categories, F, M, and J's. How many of you guys are F, like interested in F? Yeah, so it's most of you guys. Any M's in the room? Any J's? Exchange programs? No? All right. So yeah, so really focus on Fs. But yeah, so there's 3 categories, right? There's a lot of students that go to study with LPDP and they're on a J exchange visa. Those visas are slightly different, but truly they complete the same function where the student is going to the U.S. As part of an exchange program and you know getting continuing their education. All right, students must meet the eligibility criteria, of course. Oops. So, sorry, going back, eligibility criteria. Depending on the visa category, we're sometimes looking for that for some things, right? Some box checking that kind of needs to happen for certain things, right? If let's say you're going on an exchange and the exchange is more for English language, we may look for why you need English language, right? If you're going to study a bachelor's degree, we may want to know where did you graduate high school from, right? Like how long ago did you graduate high school? Why didn't does the timeline make sense, right? So depending on the visa class, we are gonna maybe look for different things in our applicant pool, yeah. All right, so what's the process? Get accepted into a program. Most of you guys are already accepted into a program. Do you guys know what a 920 is? Yeah, anybody does not know what a 920 is? Just up so I could see better. Nope. So you guys know, everybody knows what a 920 is, what a DS 2019 is, yeah? Okay, cool. So you get accepted into a program. These schools, the designated school officials, right, are part of this process. You get a form, and then you submit a visa application. The DS 160, I often see a lot of DS 160s kind of neglected a bit, but these are important. The consular officer is going to look at these, right, to see what your profile is. So if you have something that you want to put on this DS 160 that is relevant to your background, to your educational background, where you're from or where you're going, I mean, it's important for you guys to fill out this application well. And even if an agent is doing this application for you, it is ultimately your responsibility, right? Anything that's on it. I've had some students come in and their DS 160 is not filled out very accurately, right? And I'll ask them like, hey, it says here 3 years. You're telling me this is a 4-year program. They're like, well, my agent filled it out. It's best for you guys to double check, right? To make sure that DS 160 reflects what you want to do in the United States and that it aligns with the program and what you've done, right? And so you pay a fee, you schedule an interview, you pay the SEVIS fee. That's really important. The SEVIS fee goes to a different agency, right? It goes to Department of Homeland Security. It does not come to the Department of State. So you are not going to be able to come to the window and say, hey, I'd like to pay my SEVIS fee now, right? You have to do that before you come in. And then the visa interview. You'll go through intake. You'll see some of our wonderful colleagues at the consular section, and hopefully they'll welcome you with a smile, but understand that at the end of our 250-person line, our smile has melted off our face. But typically at the beginning, we should, right, it should be good, easy intake, fingerprints, and then you come to your interview. After your interview, anybody that applies for an FM or J is going to receive If they're going in the right direction towards approval, they're going to receive a yellow sheet. That yellow sheet is administrative processing, right? And that's where we do your social media vetting. And we can talk about that a little bit more as we move forward. All right, sponsors, schools, educational institutions. They can electronically sign and transmit Form DS 2019 to exchange visitors. Designated school officials may electronically sign the Form I-20 and send to the student email addresses listed in service. Right? Getting all these forms right is quite important because it saves you guys time. Student and exchange visitors must print their forms and bring them to the interview. Yeah, we want to see that I-20. We want to see the program. We want to see your sponsor's signature. We want to see how much the program is going to cost, who's paying for it on the J. It'll say, and on the DS 2019, I'm sorry, on the I-20 and on the DS 2019, it'll have some of that information for us to see. So what to bring to the interview? I hear this complaint a lot. You guys bring a lot of things to the interviews, and later on you're like, they didn't ask me for any of it, right? They just said yes right away, or they just said no right away. I had so much more to tell them, and I didn't say it, or they didn't give me time. So what are the really important things you have to bring to an interview? Obviously, your passport with more than 6 month validity. I mean, that's critical, right? Sometimes I've had people at my window and they're there waiting for me to give them their passport back, and I sometimes say the joke, if I give you your passport back, then I can't print the visa. That would be bad news, right? So this passport is where we start. We really need it. Photo in the approved format, DS-160 confirmation barcode sheet. We are not going to ask you guys in the interview. The intake folks will ask you for that DS-160. I think maybe to come into the embassy, you may need that DS-160 as well. Receipts for visa application fee and service fee payments. Even if we can see them, it's better for you guys to have your receipt with you. It'll make the process faster. And then the printout of the I-20 or the DS 2019. All right. So every traveler undergoes social media vetting, right, and certain background checks, yeah? Social media vetting. We quite often see applicants that understand that we really are only looking for national security type stuff, and you guys hanging out with your friends and partying every other weekend is not going to affect your visa application. And so sometimes we have students that understand that, and their Instagram it has all their history, which always makes us feel very happy as consular officers. And then sometimes we get social media accounts that are completely wiped. There's no photos, no posts. Just want to reassure you guys that really we're not looking for anything that a typical student in Indonesia is doing in their free time, or right. So no need to wipe your Instagram if you're applying for a visa. We will want all security concerns to be fully resolved. These are not, right, like, I know it seems a little bit mysterious from the outside, but really, if you don't know that we're likely not seeing any security concerns unless you have a criminal record that you're not sharing with us, right? Like, so if you know that you've been a hardworking student all your life, haven't gotten in any trouble, and you shouldn't have any fear that there is a security-related concern that's delaying your application. Prohibiting travel by those who might pose a threat is key to protecting U.S. national security and public safety. Visa fraud has serious consequences. Lying or providing fake documents can result in a permanent visa ban under U.S. immigration law. This means you could never go. If you overstay your U.S. visa, you could face a permanent ban on traveling to the United States. Consular officers have full access to your immigration history, and will know about past violations. There is no such thing as an honest mistake. It is your responsibility to use your visa correctly. So this is really important. I think for consular officers, having something in your background that may raise a flag is not necessarily a problem, right? However, lying to a consular officer, that is a very difficult problem. We see lots and lots of faces a day, right? So in some ways, we're very used to seeing what the story is, right, with our applicant pool. So try not to cover things up if you're upfront about certain things that have happened in your history that may be relevant. Tell us about it in the interview. It may be that it's not a big deal, right? It may be that we can move past it. However, it's going to be very, very difficult if you don't tell us and then we see it, we never have a conversation about it, and then we say no, right? And so better to be honest. We know when our applicants are being authentic when, right? It's important. So overstaying your visa. I know that this is a touchy subject right now because our rules are changing a bit. And maybe in the Q&A session, if you have some questions, we could try, even though we don't have a lot of official guidance for you guys. All right, most common refusals, 214B, 221G. So a 221G is administrative processing. This is every FMNJ, just like I shared with you, right? It's a refusal for additional processing, meaning there is a possibility that that changes to an approval, or there's a possibility that that changes to a refusal, yeah? So let me read very quickly. The term administrative processing may refer to various additional steps that must be taken. For example, if you were a previous student in the United States, we may want to check your service history. Where did you go to school? What program did you finish? Did you complete it correctly? Were you terminated from any program before? These are the kinds of things, right, that it's important for you guys to share with us at the interview. Because then in the additional processing, if we go in and check service and it's like, ooh, you were terminated from a program before, maybe it's not a big deal if we already know that that's what we're going to find. All right. No documentation can help expedite this process. Yeah, so there's really nothing you can give us that could make it faster. We try to do, I think our students are our priority, particularly in this season. So the consular section puts a lot of resources into making sure that you guys get your answers quickly, that we adjudicate those visas. Our managers are looking to us to make sure that we don't have a backlog of students because we know that our students are starting their program soon. So visas only allow students to travel to the border. U.S. Customs and Border Protection has final discretion to allow entry. This is huge, right? So the way that U.S. immigration law is written, it divides the responsibilities. It's almost like at the Department of State, we can say, you know, yes, we agree to this person's intent to come to the United States. But truly, the guys holding the door is CBP, right? And so they are going to make another adjudication and say whether you can come in or not once you're at the port of entry, yeah? F&M visas can be issued up to 365 days in advance of the I-20 program date. This is a resource to all of you. Don't wait till the last minute to apply for your visa. I understand that sometimes with LPDP or other kinds of scholarships, you're kind of waiting on the institution and you don't have a lot of time necessarily, but try as much as you can, if you have time, to submit your applications as soon as possible. Students cannot enter on a student visa more than 30 days before their program start date. So you have 30 days that you can be in the United States. And I don't know that this changed. I don't think that this is changing. So 30 days to get you settled and ready for that program, yeah. All right, reminders. Begin your visa application process early. Be prepared and be honest. I think that's the most, if you leave with anything today, it's just be honest at your visa interview. Stay calm and be patient. Remember, each applicant's situation is unique. And we're going to try our best to hear you out if you do have a unique situation that you really need to share with us. All right, for more information and for accurate information, no matter what answer we give you today, always go to travel.state.gov. Look at the FAQs there. This is the official position of the U.S. government in terms of your visa application process. Not what we tell you today. We can hopefully shed some light on the process, encourage you guys to apply, to be calm, to be hopeful that everything's going to go smoothly. But truly, this is our source for information. Yeah. All right, and I think that's it. So Q&A. I hope you guys have questions.
All right, thank you so much. Giving a round of applause to Natalie. All right, that's the great information like Natalie has been sharing to us. Okay, so right now we have a couple of minutes, like 15, 20 minutes for the question and answer. So if you can start asking questions regarding visa, whether regarding on the process, kind of thing, how to maintain your student visa status and stuff like that. So we can take off the couple of questions in the beginning. I can take 3 people. If you have questions regarding visa, you can go ahead with that. Okay, can take any people want to ask questions? About visa? Okay, 1 people can go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Falmai. I'm planning to depart for my fall intake in Colombia this year. And what I want to ask is, should we sign our I-20? Because it mentioned here is my name. Or because in my I-20 form, it's just the signature of school attestation and also student attestation. I just want to make sure, should I sign it on the paper and that I printed? And also, I'm going to have my interview next week because of my quite late LOA that I received by this early month. I'm really afraid that my visa is not come out as I expected, the timeline. So how is it easy to get my visa comes before my planned departure? Thank you.
So when is your departure?
Should be before August 20.
August 20, okay. When is your visa schedule?
July 28.
July 28, okay.
Yeah, and I'm having my interview in Surabaya.
Okay, you've been interviewed, okay, July 28. Okay, that's gonna be next week, right?
Yeah.
Tuesday, okay. So probably you can answer for the first question, should be the I-20, should be signed in
I don't know, I think I need to recruit the assistance of a more experienced colleague. Leah.
If there's a spot on your I-20 for you to sign, you can sign the spot on your I-20. But you don't need to sign just randomly on the page. I would also add, you never know what can happen with the administrative processing or your interview. So you can do 2 things at once. You can go to your interview and you can be prepared there, but it's also good to talk to your advisor and maybe get an email that you could print out and bring with you. Your advisor you can say, hey, here's my interview, I really want to come. If for some reason I don't get my visa back until August 30th or later, can I still come and start late? And your advisor most likely would say, sure, you can start until this date. And if you have that letter, that email with you, I think that would just be a good thing. If I were in your position, you can bring with you to your interview. So just to kind of as a backup plan. So in advance, you're talking to your advisor, you're saying, here's what my plan, here's when I'm going, just in case the administration processing, would I be able to start late? I'm not saying I will. And they'll reply, and you can print off that and bring that with you to your interview.
All right.
Yeah. Like my colleague Leah said, if you want, you could also sign it in front of us if you have a lot of doubts. We could check real quick where it is that you hoping to or thinking about signing the document. We could do that.
Right. For the second question, it's your
The second question,
I think
think time is good. I think your timing is fine. I think it takes us about 2 weeks to turn it around. It should be, you should be fine with your August 20 start date. But like my colleague Leah said, you should also reach out to the advisor and see if anything happens with the visa process and somehow it doesn't get back to you in time. Can you start late? Yeah. So.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much, Natalie. Okay, so we can start with the second questions. Anybody want to ask? All right, from this end, yeah, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Amanda. I had a question, not too much related about the student visa, but it's about pre-completion or post-completion OPT. Would that, what's a good first point of contact if we wanted to apply for that? Does the website show resources about that, or should we contact our advisor or the international center of our school?
Yeah, I think the international center of your school is a good place to start. I think they're going to have the most amount of information in terms of what previous alumni have done and how to best make sure that it complements your program. Definitely not travel.state.gov. This is going to focus on your visa application process and rules about entering the United States. But for OPT, definitely. But Leah, any? If you want, you could come up and we can share
Should
this.
I come up?
How about
Okay.
Yeah, let's just do that.
So for your OPT, you will need a new I-20 that'll be issued from your university. When you start your OPT program, that's going to come from the international office. So there's an advisor. I forget what the standard operating procedure is, but someone in the international advising office would be able to help you, along with maybe some of your professors in whatever department you're in, helping you think through resources. So it's going to be a multi-channel approach where you'll have to work with the advisor to make sure you're getting it approved as an international student through the school, getting a new I-20, and then maybe through your advisor, your professor, or someone who can help you with, here are some resources, here's what I would recommend particularly for you that would match with your curriculum. So kind of that's how I would recommend it.
All right, thank you so much for that. Okay, for the third questions, probably you can.
You can share this one.
Hello. My name is Karina. Thank you so much for your presentation. I had a question about the difference between like a visa and a status, because it seems that like once you enter, like you use the visa to ask for admission, and then in case the CBP officer, they decide to let you in, you have an I-94, which kind of like lets you know how long you can stay in the US. So I was just wondering, is that the difference? And in that case, when it comes to like our time in the US and when we're supposed to go back, should we always refer back to the I-94 instead of our visa? Because my visa is like 5 years in length. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Karina, that's a great question. And I think you answered it. You gave a good answer to your question too. Yeah, the visa is the permission to enter, right? And then, or the invitation to enter kind of thing. And then it's that status is tied to your admission until date. And that admission until date is very important because DHS is going to consider you as an overstay if you don't return by that date, no matter what the visa says. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're probably referring to a change in duration of status. If any of you have seen the news recently, they're talking about a change in duration of status. And so what this means is previously, as long as you were enrolled in a school, your status didn't change, you weren't accruing what they call a legal presence. Now, everything is tied to whatever the date is stamped. So just like CBP has the authority to allow you to enter or to say you cannot enter, they're also going to give you a date now when you enter the US, and they say you are admitted until July 2027 or whatever they decide. We don't know. And so it's very important that you remember what that date is and that you leave the US before that date, okay? If you are still in your program, like let's say your program is taking longer, maybe you need to redo another class, something, you can apply for an extension. And so you'll do that through USCIS, I believe, but you apply for your extension. So you always want to make sure, and then they'll grant you an extension, and that will push that what we call an authorized until date back further into the future. So it's not only whether or not you're still in status with your university and taking classes, you have to pay attention to the date now a little more closely and make sure if that date is before you finish your program that you apply for an extension if you need to, okay?
All right, so I think, thank you so much, Leah, for the question. So I think we have a couple of questions from online. The question is, what is the most common reason students are denied a F1 visa, and how can they avoid those mistakes?
All right. If it doesn't make sense to us that you're doing a certain program in the U.S., that sometimes can be tricky. Fs are typically, for me personally, they're very easy, right? This is a student going to the U.S. There's a purpose, right? It's not tourism. They have a purpose. They have already shown that they're going to be paying for the program. But if the program itself doesn't quite make sense to me, then that is where it could sway that interview a little bit. Right? So for example, let's say you graduated high school in 2004 and you started working immediately and you didn't pursue a higher education for a couple years. You should probably have a very good, a very strong reason for why that was the case, right? Because I'm going to ask questions about, hey, there is a gap here. What did you do during this time, and how does this, affect your career progression? Or, hey, what are you doing this computer science major for? What is it that you want to do when you come back, or what is it that you want to do later in your career? I've had folks at my window say, I want to do OPT and I want to do STEM OPT, and I'm actually hoping that a company in the US will see how brilliant I am and that I am able to jump onto an H-1B. That tells me that they're thinking about how to legally continue their career progression, and that's not necessarily a bad thing to me, right? And so it really all depends. If obviously we want to know that you are not intending to break any laws in the United States. That's it. That's what we're looking for. Yeah? So I don't know if you wanted to give.
I came most recently. I was in India, and I did this same thing in India as well. And we had the the largest population of international students was from India last year. And I would get this question a lot from the students there. And I would talk about sort of authenticity, and I would say, this isn't a job interview. I think a lot of times people are coming to the visa interview like it's a job interview, right? Or like you're talking to your auntie or your mom or someone, and they say, well, why did you choose this university? and you think you've got to give an answer. Well, I've been researching Dr. Professor Mr. Smith, and he does this research, and it doesn't sound authentic, right? Because no, you saw something on Instagram, or your cousin's sister went there, or someone that you know, and so we don't need the answer that you think you need, and I think that sometimes hurts people when they come in because they feel like, oh, I really need to impress, right? And so they're saying something that it's not authentic to them, and it's also not really the truth. And it's okay if you knew someone who went there and they had a really good time, or your sister went there and there's a good community of Indonesians and you feel like you'd be more comfortable here. That actually makes a lot of sense to us as human beings, right? And so keep that in mind. It's not a job interview. We're not judging your decisions or it's more about a judgment of, is this person authentically presenting themselves? Because anytime we feel like there's a lie or something that's not authentic, then we can't determine whether or not everything else in the application is authentic. So that's my number one thing that I would say, is just to try and be as honest as you can, even with those answers.
All right, so I think my question is, I saw you mentioned about the admin processing 221G. A lot of people, a lot of students asking after they applying visa. Some of them, they get the visa immediately, and some of them, they have to wait for a couple of days. Is it because of the admin process, or like social media vetting, or there's something else why that happens? Some people get the visa so easily, just right away, and some people, they have to wait for a couple of days. People asking that questions a lot. What's wrong with that? How to go to the United States right now? My visa is not coming out. Is that any other reason besides the admin process or other things?
Yeah, so I mean, we have a section that adjudicates a lot of visas, right? We process a lot of passports, a lot of visas. There could be a million reasons that have nothing to do with your application for why it took a little longer. It could be that the officer in charge of your case had their leave planned for that week. And so maybe your passport is there for a week waiting for that officer to come back and finish the process, yeah? So it's really human beings on the other side of the process, not machines. And so in some ways, it could be just differences in how quickly we're getting through our backlog. It could also be demand, right? It could be that the week you came in, there was, 1,000 students coming in. And so social media had to be done for every single one. Social media vetting or something else had to be done for every single one of those. So yeah, it really does depend on.
So it's really a lot of reasons behind that, right?
Yeah,
so
but it's not necessarily your case.
If
right?
you guys need more detail about that person, you guys are gonna email them, and you need more detail document and stuff like that, right? So
absolutely, we do not like to refuse our F's, M's, and J's. Right?
Okay.
So in many ways, we take the time to say, well, you know what? If this applicant, that was an interesting answer they gave me. They really don't know what their dad does for work. So but maybe, I can ask them for some docs that that they can produce and send me to see what is it, who's paying and what is it that they do for work, right? That kind of thing does delay the process, though, right? Because then I am trying to think of, how can I get to a yes with this applicant? Could there be something that they could provide? And then we need to send an email, and you need to respond back to us. And so that goes to the back of my stack. Whereas if someone has everything prepared, their answers well prepared, they're authentic, like my colleague Leah said, right? They're on it, they're giving me honest answers, then I'm gonna be able to get through that social media vetting and get that passport out of my queue as quickly as possible. So there is stuff that you guys can do to help us be faster at our jobs as well.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much. Giving a round of applause to Natalie and Leah for the sessions. You guys giving a lot great information about the visa. Thank you because we are running out of time. Thank you so much for all your attentions, great questions, and all the engagement active participations. So if you still have questions regarding about your visa, about your study in the United States, Education USA, we're so happy to help you every step of the way on your US journey. All right, one more time, good luck for your study, and we look forward to your success in the United States. All right, bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for our speakers and moderator for the third sessions. You may return to your seat. Thank you so much. And yes, thank you for the informative sessions to all the speakers and moderator for leading the discussion from the first one until the third one. Can we give a big round of applause, everyone? Yes, as you prepare for life in the US, you will discover that having a supportive community can make all the difference. One of those communities is PERMIAS, the Indonesian Student Associations in the United States. To introduce the PERMIAS, please welcome the first one, Kak Haksel Utapea, President of PERMIAS Nasional. And the second one is Kak Kelly Sogiantoro, the Vice President of PERMIAS Nasional. Please give them a warm welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much, Ad America, for having us here today. I'm Axel Utapea, the president of PERMIAS Nasional, and this is my colleague, Kelly Sugiantoro, the vice president of PERMIAS Nasional. First of all, again, thank you for Ad America for the invitation. Not only through Ad America, we've enjoyed a lot of collaboration, a lot of work together with many of our colleagues in the US government. We recently had a webinar about this visa arrangement with ICE, with SEVIS, with the Department of Homeland Security. Dave gave a lot of great assistance to us, and we truly hope that this kind of events, the ones that we're doing today, are bridging the needs of the students, the Indonesian diaspora in the United States, with the needs and truly the expectations that the US government provide to us as they are hosting all of us in their homeland. So next slide. A little bit about PERMIAS Nasional. PERMIAS, Persatuan Mahasiswa Indonesia di Amerika Serikat, or the Indonesian Students Association in the United States. You'll see later on that we're consist of more than 90 chapters across almost all states, almost. We are based in all over the United States, really. The 501c3 is registered in Los Angeles, but we are everywhere. Our members and all of our executive boards are all over the United States and in Indonesia. And just this year, we have a Jakarta liaison officer who are handling a lot of the issues, a lot of the needs from the Jakarta side. A little bit about our vision and mission here. It's truly different when you think of PERMIAS from 1961 to now, and this vision and mission continuously change as the time change. But for our leadership, for our presidency, there are two main categories that we're thinking of right now. One is safety. We want to make sure that Indonesian students in the United States are safe, are secure. You don't have to worry about your livelihood. You don't have to worry about whether you're going to be expelled from the country or not. And what that means is that we want to make sure that you continue to oblige with the requirements from the US government, that you continue to be a lawful citizen, that you continue to do your internship, you continue to do your study, your work, your volunteer according to US laws and regulations. And in cases where emergency happens, for example, recently there's fires in LA, shootings in Brown University, completely unfortunate circumstances, we are here to help you. We are here to assist you in exiting these emergency situations. And the second part of it, after you feel safe and secure, is the idea of you feel empowered. You feel that your study in the United States is not just about a degree, it's about extending your life to many new opportunities. So what we do is that we want to connect you with things outside of yourself. We say that there are three categories that we want to say, that we want to emphasize. We want to connect students to students, students to researchers, and students to industry. Students to students through the work that we're doing within Parmias. We have 90 chapters. We are continuously concerting efforts to make sure that the chapters within us are continuously interacting, making events together, making bridges through the connections, the basic connections, day-to-day ones, especially when you live nearby, when you live close together. And then students to researchers, we're doing a lot of projects, or we're initiating a lot of projects with the Indonesian side, the Ministry of Research and Science, Research and Higher Education, the Agency for Research and Innovation, a lot of different researchers in the United States as well, to come to us and give a lot of talks about current issues. Just this morning, we talked about the Indonesian economy. A few weeks ago, we talked about the free school lunch program here in Indonesia, and we're talking about it from an academic point of view. We invite a lot of researchers from the public policy side, public health, economics, to make sure that these are truly relevant and we can continue to engage with the things that are happening in our country. And the last one is student to industry. We want to make sure that no matter what, ultimately, for most of us, the goal of attaining education is truly to be employed, is truly to get a job, to get something that's pretty much useful for our future. And we want to help to make that pipeline. We are working with several colleagues from the United States Indonesia Society, USINDO, with the Indonesian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, as well as the US Chamber, to make sure that for all of you who are top graduates, we are hoping that we have a specific pipeline to go to top US companies and for them to have special pipeline for you. But that's always all under discussion. If you are a member of Parmias and you need something from us, whether it's about connecting to industry, connecting to alumni, connecting to a lot of people who are expert in the things that you're interested in, we're happy to help in that area. And you see that the 5 departments that we have are academics, professional development, publications and promotion, organizational development, and social affairs. Social affairs is a new one built this year so that we are continuously engaged with Indonesian issues. We want to make sure that what's happening in the country is being is felt truly by the students in the United States. And also, just recently, I think 2 or 3 years ago, we established professional development so that there truly is a focus in that connection with the industry. Next. So top industries, let me begin by this. Top industries that we have surveyed for the Indonesian students in the United States are business and STEM. For business, there's a lot of wide range of, both for business and STEM, there are quite wide range of issues that Indonesians in the United States are interested in. For business, it ranges from finance, accounting, to management, to a lot of different things. A lot of these MBA programs are also, focusing on Indonesian students and Indonesian cases particularly. And we also see that a lot of American campuses are building new programs in Indonesia, and most of them truly relates or intersects at least with the business side of things. And the second one is STEM. This is also a priority from the Indonesian government in the past 2 years. The amount of Indonesian government scholarship for STEM has increased tremendously in this past 1 or 2 years. So we see a spike in Indonesian students studying engineering, medical studies, and also even computer science, which are increasingly interested, a lot of Indonesian students are interested in. And there's a bunch of chapters that we have. We want you, if you are a prospective student, to interact with members from your chapter today. And Kelly would talk more about it later. Next. And these are just a couple of departments that we have, just to give a description. One of the things that we want is promoting our chapters through this publication and promotion department. So if there's any new opportunities, if you are making, I don't know, Independence Day celebration, 4th of July celebration, or simply you're hosting a lunch or a dinner for your families in your hometown or in your university, we want to be a part of that. We want to publish that. We want to promote that, because ultimately, as Indonesians abroad, Indonesians are the families that we have. Next slide. And the next slide is academics and research. There is a lot of things that are ongoing right now. Most recently is the focus on research. We did a town hall with the ambassador a couple months ago to make sure that we are truly investigating what are the needs of our researchers in terms of fundings, in terms of peer reviews, in terms of publishing, but also in terms of post-research opportunities. We want to make sure this research products connects with the industry needs. So we are in the process of forming a database right now to help establish all that, so that Permias has a database if your researchers are top research and can be promoted in Indonesian and American industries. Next. I'll leave it to Kelly after this.
Okay, so just to preface, I think Axel explained well about our departments. So this is our professional development members. They're actually not here, but I'm just gonna give a little overview of what we do. So we see the problem in current US students is that a lot of us are trying to get jobs in the US, and then a lot of us are concerned about maybe CPT, OPT, and we kind of want to be that bridge that bridges like information into you guys on these opportunities. So these are just kind of like the programs that we've done these past few years, having the professional development department. So it can be like resume and LinkedIn clinics. And then we also had like coffee chats or maybe career talks. And then I think recently the most that we do this year is our industry panel. So it's basically this way of us trying to connect you guys with industry experts. So the previous ones that we did are like tech industry and finance industry. And then we also did like an intro to consulting. So these sessions are the ones for current Indonesian students studying in the US. You can join and then ask these professionals like about what are employers looking for right now and those type of stuff. And then we also have our social affairs department. So as Axel also touched on before, this is our new department. And then the sessions that we do are kind of more informative in terms of like what's currently happening in Indonesia. For example, the session we had this morning actually was like a discussion on Indonesia's current economy. So you usually invite experts like professors. For example, we had Professor Puspa and then Professor Jay, just to talk about what's going on in Indonesia's economy and how does it impact us, even as students being in the US right now. So this also serves as a platform for us to like kind of show you guys like what's happening. And then this is also our new department or kind of like section of having a Jakarta liaison. Actually, we have like one of our members here, Tim, the one presenting before. So what we do is kind of like connect with like stakeholders. For example, we have like collaborations, upcoming collaborations too with alumnus. We actually are planning our gathering next week. So that's to be discussed later. And then you can also find more information on our social media. And then we also met with some stakeholders, for example, like from LPDP, and then also from Education USA, actually. So that's what we've been doing. A lot of these events happen during the summer, since a lot of us are also here in Jakarta. And this is the most weighted department, which is our organizational development department. So this is kind of like a platform where we try to connect with the chapters in the US. So how it works is usually we connect with the chapter leaders and then kind of like also invite them to our events and then help them connect with each other. So I think today there are two of our officers here. There's Michelle on that side. And then she's from Chicago, so if any of you guys are planning to study in Chicago, feel free to also like reach out to her after the session. And also there's Joanne. She's going to UC Berkeley. And then, yeah, she's also in charge of like the West Coast chapters. So currently it's mostly divided into 4 regions. We have West Coast, East Coast, Midwest, and then South. So depending on where you are in the US, you can always reach out to like each of us, and we can connect you with also like the nearest chapters in your regions. And this is a little bit more about our organizational development divisions. We usually have programs such as like chapter gatherings. Like we try to host monthly meetings with chapters, and then usually we also have like kind of yearly recap of like, for example, on our Instagram we have list of chapters in certain regions. And then these are just like highlights of our chapter events. We usually also help promote these events on our Instagram. So if like you're curious about like events in your region, feel free to also look at our Instagram page. And these are also from our latest chapter heads gatherings. So we usually have like this kind of icebreaker of like people putting like what their chapters did before. For example, last semester, like from Permias SFBA, they have like an event called like Nusantara Fest or something like that. So during these Zoom sessions, we usually share with each other like what each chapter is doing and kind of bond from that. And then here's just like our chapter representatives that are today here. So from West Coast, we have a couple of people. From UC Davis, we have Charlene and Julia, if you guys can stand up. So they're on that side. If you guys have questions afterwards, feel free. And then from Seattle, there's Giselle and also Raka. If you guys can stand up. So they're on this side. And then there's also Violeta from Isao. And then from Indo-DVC, there's Aaron. And then there's Justin from Berkeley. And then there's Brian from SFBA. So these are kind of like the representatives that are here today, and you can ask for kind of like tips or like life in the US after this. And then from East Coast, we have Jacob from Babson on that side. And then there are 2 people, Hubert and Rafi from Penn State. And then there's Samuel from Boston. And then Adiva. And then I think we also have a couple people from Midwest. There's Daniel and Ida from Purdue. And then there's also Cherish from UIUC. And there's also one from South, which is Dali. But yeah, these are kind of like the chapter representatives that you can meet after this session. But that's kind of a little bit from us. If you want to know more info about Permias, feel free to look at our Instagram at permias.nacional. And also shout out to our email at info@permiasnacional.com. But yeah, thank you so much for having me at Axel today.
Thank you so much. Thank you to our representative from Permias. Please stay on the stage. Now we are going to present a token of appreciations. May I invite Pak John Slover to the stage. Thank you so much. Can we give a big round of applause, everyone? Thank you. And yes, our next organization continues to support Indonesia's students long after graduations. Please welcome Kak Jimmy Geni, President of Alumnas, who will introduce the organization. Please give a big round of applause, everyone.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. It's great to be here. Let me see hands of who are actually students in the US at the moment. Oh, okay, so many. Hi, Arya, how are you? Okay, thanks. Thank you so much. How about the students who are going to the US soon? Okay, so we have a lot as well. All right, great. So this is the right crowd then. My name is Jimmy Gani. I am the president of Alumnas. I've been the president of Alumnas for the last 5 years, and before that, Secretary General. So I'll be introducing Alumnas, and if you have any question during my presentation, feel free to do it. So next. So actually, I live in the US 3 phases. In the 80s, 84 to 88, I live in Maryland, US, and then in the 90s, I was in Bay Area in San Francisco. Who's from San Francisco here? Ah, yeah, Berkeley, I see also, right? Yeah, okay. And then lastly, in Boston area, I was at Harvard University in 2012 to 2013. Okay, I'll just do a brief presentation, but I hope that we can do some interaction. So if you have any questions, since I've lived in the East Coast, West Coast, as well as the different eras, maybe if you have any question, feel free. I'm here also with 2 of my colleagues. Chief Yuli, please stand up. Okay. And then Chief Hadid, please. By the way, at Alumnas, we call ourselves chiefs. Everybody's chiefs, yeah? No Indians, unfortunately. Okay, so this is our presentation. Next. Let me start with a video so that you see what we do in Alumnas. Can we play it, please? Thank you.
For more than 40 years, the network of Indonesian graduates from the United States was a loose circle of friendship. But in January 2021, this massive repository of global knowledge found its true anchor. Under the visionary guidance of Jimmy Gani, alongside Hassan Sojono as chairman of the Board of Supervisors, Alumnus formally emerged as a registered legal entity, shifting from a simple community into a powerful force for national development. With a mission centered on serving and giving back to Indonesia, a new era of leadership had officially begun. Behind every major milestone is a highly coordinated engine, with Vice President Noni Purnomo, Secretary General Gatot Sumatorno, and Treasurer Doni Agustiadi managing the organizational pulse, launched the landmark Alumnus Summit in November 2021. Bearing the theme Indonesia Rising, this highly anticipated virtual conference became a massive bridge between global thought leaders and local action. Driven by the Partnership Division under Ari Satria and supported by a prestigious advisory council, including top state ministers, the team successfully brought together over 500 participants and 52 world-class speakers to map out Indonesia's post-pandemic digital recovery. The true heart of Alumnus is found in its execution on the ground. Led by the Social, Culture, and Education Division under Muhammad Haikal Pasarudo and the Activities Branch led by Arthur Gusman, the association took their mission directly to the community. Through initiatives like Giving Back by Alumnus, the entire team mobilized resources for local youth shelters. Simultaneously, members dedicated their own time to build active mentorship networks, equipping the next generation of Indonesian students with the tools to study in the US and return to build the nation.
February 7, 2026 put the organization's collaborative maturity to the ultimate test. Alumnus hosted its first ever fully open Democratic National Congress. Led seamlessly by Congress Committee Chairman John Way Muljono, the event brought together hundreds of members globally. While 3 distinct presidential tracks were presented, the community united around a shared vision for aggressive digital expansion and deeper membership value, re-electing Jimmy Ghani with 73% of the vote. It wasn't just a win for one leader, it was a triumph for the entire association's democratic future. Moving rapidly into the 2026 to 2031 tenure, the team immediately set their sights on national economic acceleration. Forging a powerful alliance with the Ministry of Creative Economy, the Executive Board is leveraging its vast collective global network. By combining the skills of its entrepreneurs, corporate executives, and policymakers, the Alumnus team is setting up concrete talent curation pipelines and business forums to help local creative MSMEs scale sustainably on the global stage. The journey of Alumnus proves that while an individual can spark a vision, it takes a dedicated community to turn it into a legacy. Driven by its board, guided by its advisors, and fueled by its members, Alumnus stands ready for the future. Together, they don't just network. Together, they serve, they build, and they make a lasting difference for Indonesia.
Alumnus and Indonesia. Beautiful. Thank you so much, everyone.
So that's us, Alumnus. Thank you so much. Since I see most of you are students, we hope that you will join us soon once you graduate. Also for the students who are upcoming students who are going to the US, we also hope that after you graduate, you join us. This is our vision, our mission. As you see, we have different types of activities and mission. Of course, we want to be serious. As you see, many of our patrons are in government, in businesses. But in this kepengurusan, actually, we have a lot of young people in their 20s. Now, we here have actually from the Bidang 5 ya, Chief Seto boleh berdiri? Ini Chief Seto. Yeah, he's the chairman of Bidang 5. So we have a few missions which are important. We want to be the platform collaboration. We also want to empower our members, which are alumni of various universities from the US. Also mentoring. This is one of our mission to mentor, especially the younger generation, and also contribute to the advancement of the nation. Next. Okay, these are our very important core values: independence, neutrality, non-political, non-sectarian, decency. As you see maybe in the video, some faces are familiar faces. They wear different colors, blue, yellow, red, and so on. But once they're in Alumnus, they're independent of the various parties and various groups that they represent. They're just Alumnus. Next. Okay, let me just give a glimpse of some of our pengurus, some of our committees. Next. As you can see, we have quite a number of prominent people within the pengurus. We have Dr. Agus Yudhoyono as our chairman of the Honorary Council, with Pak Rosan, Pak Iftitah, all ministers, Pak Tuku Rifki. We have people from also from the legislative bodies such as Pak Anton Surato. We have Dr. Ilham Habibi. We have Ibu Yani Wahid. Pak Rahmat Kaimudin, like Pak Rosan, is also in Danantara. He's a director. Pak Rosan is the CEO of Danantara. Next. We also have our advisory board consisting of Professor Yasona Lauli, former Minister of Law, Professor Bambang Brojonegoro, Pak Muhammad Lutfi, the former Minister of Trade, also Ambassador John Prasetyo, Pak Eko, also former minister. Shinta Kamdani is the chairperson of Apindo, and then there's John Riyadi as well from the Lipo Group. Next. We have also the expert council, all professor or at least PhD, Professor Bambang Susantono. There's also from the military, Prof. Marsetio, and others. Next. This is our supervisory board, Chief Hasan Sujono. Next. This is the our executive board. Next. And we have 10 various committees ranging from membership, trusts. Next. Activities, next. So you can see everybody here, they went to the US and they have good credentials in terms of education as well as professional career. This is kemitraan. Next. Humas and komunikasi, terus. Pendidikan, keterampilan, and knowledge sharing, which some of the members are here. Next. Social dan budaya, next. This is pengembangan cabang. We have at the moment a few cabangs, representatives. Most active are East Java as well as North Sumatra. So if you live outside of Jakarta and would like to start alumnus anywhere in Indonesia or outside of Indonesia, we're welcome if you want to start that. So we are hoping that we can open up new chapters as well. Next. We have also pengembangan usaha, business development. Next. Also the club membership alumni. So we're working with, at the moment, 47 club alumni clubs, such as the Harvard Club, the Berkeley Club, the MIT, Stanford, as well as others, Michigan, Thunderbird, yeah, and so on. And we actually work together with them on various activities. Next. Lastly, but not least, is sports and youth, which is exciting. And many of our friends here are from the younger generation. So we have sometimes paddle, we play paddle, sometimes we play golf, sometimes just run together, just fun walk. Recently, there's also tennis, mini soccer, and so on. So those are the type of activities that we have. Next. And we also have a foundation which focus on professional development, mentoring young generation, education, and so on. Next. Okay, next. Okay, these are our targets for now. We have at the moment a few thousand active members, but of course, looking at what Axel just presented just now and Kelly, they have 9,000 students at the moment in the US. Easily, we can grow to more than 10,000 by the next few years. We also have 5 program unggulan yang akan kita laksanakan. Also sustainable business and 10 chapters. We only have 3-4 chapters at the moment, so we're going to have more and more chapters and also start our endowment fund, working together with academics, business, and government. Next. I think this is the last slide, yeah, next. These are just some of the activities that we're going to do in the next 5 years. Database, and I'm quite happy to see our new committees. They're working very hard on this. Our website also relatively new, and social media. We also have the Alumnus Summit and Cup, also to develop more chapters of alumnus in various areas, as well as to ensure that the foundation, Yayasan Alumnus Bangun Bangsa, can actually contribute to the advancement of the nation. And last but not least, again, mentoring to the young generation of Indonesia. Next. Okay, so that's basically what we wanted to share with all of you. So lastly, please do join us when you have graduated, and it's easy. Just go to our website, alumnus.id/membership. Very easy. And for many of you who are going to graduate soon, you just need to upload some of your credentials, such as your certificate and so on, and boom, you're a member of Alumnus. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you so much, Pa Jimmy. Please stay on the stage. Once again, may I invite Pa John Slover to present a token of appreciation. Thank you so much. Please give a big round of applause, everyone. And ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of today's Education USA Pre-Departure Orientation 2026. Thank you to all of our distinguished speakers, moderator, partners, and participants for making today's event such a meaningful one. Please give a big round of applause, everyone. And yes, once again, to all our future students, congratulations. And we wish you safe travels, a smooth transitions, and every success in your academic journey in the US. And don't forget, everyone, to stay connected with America. We are on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube, AT America. Once again, my name is Meidinar. Thank you so much, everyone, and see you on the next America events. Bye!